Hello, hello, Marcio. How are you? Welcome to the creativity question.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Fabi. Really happy for being here, joining you in this podcast. Thank you for keeping me in mind.
Thank you for joining me. So let me give you a little bit of an introduction. So Márcio Fábio Leite is a person who's very dear to me. He is a friend I met in London many, many years ago. He's a brand expert and a consultant. He's a strategist and an author. He's a lecturer and an educator based in Sao Paulo. He's been at London College of Communication. He's the author of Geração Pixelada. Correct me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, which is a research methodology exploring youth subculture and social networks and consumer industry. You are specialized in narratives and strategies for brand products and services. And you worked also with lots of brands from Philip Morris to AMBEV or Boticário, Marisol, Johnson & Johnson, Team Nestlé, Visa, you name it, you worked with them. You also worked at Globosat channels and Global Media Group, where you implemented an innovation lab, which is very exciting. And you developed service design projects and systemic innovation operations with major consumer brands, internal teams, advertisers, and commercial partners. Also, you are a lecturer at YED, which is the Institute of Design. And you're also working as an independent consultant right now at Doisem Design. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes,
And now you're
that's right.
supporting companies and startups that are innovative and socially responsible. So you are a genius, Marcio. You do everything. You are
No, no,
an
just a hard
absolute expert.
worker.
You are the perfect first guest for this podcast. So let's
Thank
start with
you.
the question that, it's the question of this podcast, and then we will take it from there. So what is creativity for you, Marcio?
Oh, I would say firstly that creativity is you have an eye for something that people are not looking at. But for that, I believe that creativity is a journey. It's an accumulation of experience, exchange with people, with different cultures, with different habits. I think it's essential in order to be creative to have, it's more than a repertoire. It's more than that. I think it's living the life, living the journey, like enjoying the moments and having an eye for the peculiarities of things and of people. I think that's creativity for me.
That's lovely. Can you share some example that captures the meaning of what you just told me in your life, in your work, in anything you have in mind?
Yeah, well, I have this long journey. I came from a small town in São Paulo area in Brazil, and just after the university, I moved South Brazil. It's a very different area. I mean, you may relate that with Milano slash Munich area of Brazil, and where design is quite developed, and it's a different culture. So that's my first learning on career, like seeing how people from Brazil live differently, speak differently, and have a different codes and ways to communicate and express visually. So, and after that, I start to move every 6 or 5 years. I move here and there, and then London, and I was really happy to contact with people like you and all our friends from university, and there was different lenses that would add it in my way of seeing things, and then the visual discourse changed a lot. So yeah, that's one example. And a second example I would give is it's my book, if I can talk about it.
You can even
Geração,
show it if you want to, because
yeah,
we will
yeah,
be also on video. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. Where can people
Ge-
find this? We will reiterate at the end of the episode, but just where can they find it? On Amazon, I guess.
on Amazon you can have the
Great.
digital copy, and on Blurb you can acquire a physical printed version of that. Geração Pixelada, or in English, Pixelated Generation, was my master project actually. Back 17 years in London. where I was trying to understand how social media back in time, not the social media we have these days, were changing the way young people were building their subcultures and communicating. So that was an experiment. Back in the days, we didn't talk much about user research and things like that. So it was quite a new thing, I think. We had, of course, qualitative research, but the thing is how designers could have a source of information, reliable information about a group, about people, in order to build better messages and create in a more original way. I think that was my quest back in time. I mean, I didn't know how to be creative, how to be original, and thought at that time that creative people will be people that had access to nice magazines, nice books, or this kind of research. And then I realized that it requires more reflection, more a critical view, and more. I didn't like much this word, but empathy. I think it's the best word I have here. I didn't like that much, but I mean, really, really put yourself open to understand other people and the way other people lives their lives. So I remember my tutor saying that it seems that you're going to go to a lot of parties here in London. And I said, no, just three of them, because my intention is to map, very, very scientifical. But the thing is, that's the way of getting in touch with different languages. I really believe that you're going there and watching there like a journalist or like anthropologist person, observe, take notes, take some pictures, and then back to the office, try to create, something original.
That's, that's fascinating because when I was younger, I had this idea that creative people were this kind of magic people that had this secret source of knowing something that I didn't know and I really wanted to discover. And this is also where the podcast idea comes from. But in reality, and now you're confirming what I think as well, is that it's a lot of work. It's just about researching and looking and talking to people and getting to know the world and simply put the puzzle pieces together, and then you can get creative ideas. And it's really interesting that you're also feeling that way, because I think that that's really what it is. Creativity is part of all of us. We just have to find a way to get to it.
Yeah,
So that's, thank you. Thank you for that. It's really interesting. So what did you find super interesting? This is the deviating from the first question, but what did you find super interesting about meeting people in Europe, for example? I mean, was it very different, from your culture and how you saw things, creative things, How useful
yeah.
was that?
I wouldn't say in Brazil, but the education I had here was very towards production. And I
Mm.
think in these days we have a lot of this. Just a parenthesis here. Just me and my partner, my work partner, we have this MAGA slogan now for our studio. We call "Make it Design Gay Again." Uh,
I
is
love
that
that.
fantastic?
That's
Because
fantastic.
we lost that. At some point, we just lost that. We became, I think, I wouldn't say our generations, but the actual generations of creative people or designers, they're too much focused on frames and canvas and models and how to replicate a formula. So people don't risk anymore. People don't make mistakes. They want to do that's just right. And back in times in the 80s, my education, the education I had in school was very much focused on production. So replicating models, how to do things right. And the first contrast when I arrived in London and I met all of you guys from different parts of Italy, from German, from China, from all people from England, some Belgian guys also, and if you know.
I know who the Benjamin
It's,
guy is.
oh no, of course, love him. So it's the way of thinking, because that's quite outrageous. I felt that really you're trying to see things from what would the teachers would expect from us, and I see people just say no, you just do your project. You
18. So basically, what pushed you to do was just have your own idea and see how it goes. Like provoking your brain to just decide what the right thing was instead of executing something
exactly.
according to a scheme. That's great. It must have been like eye opening.
Yeah, yeah. It's something that really changed the way I work. I think is you know d- a tipping point on my career, the mastering and living for 2 years in London, uh, because yeah. So other than that, it will be just reproducing packaging editorials, just trends, just the trendy typeface, the trendy color of the season. So the master really put me in this position that I should experiment it. I think it's not something the experience was special by itself, but I think that is more the academic space. You be in a nice university with nice people that are also searching for new language, new ways of doing creative things, and having you know good tutors helping you to you know manage your expectations and find yourself. I think in the end, the creative
Yeah,
process is that it's about finding yourself, seeing yourself in the work you are producing, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. And in London, it is fantastic the way that, I mean, I went to the same university, so the way they stimulate you to think and to find yourself without trying to fit you in any category or force your creative thinking. That was really something that changed everything for me as well, because in Italy, we have a much more, well, at least at the time, we had a much more academic way of studying. It was very, traditional and a little bit like in Brazil, I would guess. I think that London is such a world that opens to everyone that really makes you just think, even just the fact that you're with people from everywhere else, it just makes you think differently. You can see from another point of view, from another culture point of view. You learn so many other ways of seeing reality that naturally it opens up a new world for creative thinking that's actually priceless. It's something that I think it changed all of our lives forever. I have to ask you the question that every creative always asks themselves and to other creatives. So, what was a moment of struggle? Do you have moments of struggle, or are you always in a flow and everything is smooth and everything is fine?
I wish was easy like that. No. Well, after these first struggles in the beginning of the career, try to find, the ways to be original, to be innovative, to have you know, ownership of my work. I mean, that was one major struggle. And then you realize, no, you can search, you can listen to people, you can connect, you can observe, and then make a new work. That was a plateau, was a moment that I felt comfortable, was about my 30 somethings. And then I went to work on TV, where I stayed for 11 years. And in
Like
this
Globosat,
place,
right?
Globosat channels, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a network with 17 channels, 17 different brands. And then
Wow.
everything changed because one thing is working in a studio, in a design studio, or at a agency. It's one thing. But working inside the industry is totally different because you do your work and then the next hours it is on air, it's on TV, and there's
My
no way to
God.
take it back.
Yeah, that is exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yes, it is. So in the beginning, I started to struggle because I wasn't a motion designer. And in this department, back in time, we had 45 people working, and then we reached 148 people in 6 years because
Goodness.
the industry growth so quickly here, and we start to hire people like image editors, video editors, copywriters, and you start to have a lot of work. And then the struggle was, uh, I'm in the right place. Is my work fitting here? Because I'm from printing. What I'm doing here, and then we start to realize everything was changing. That will be back in 2011, from 2011 to 2016. Then you have all Facebook, YouTube coming, strongly and breaking industry, and Netflix. And then we start to have different ways of communicating, and then realize that was a laboratory. Everyone was experimenting, actually. So there's no right way of doing things. We had to find our ways. And then that was when everything connected to me, because I had creative experience from the design studios I've been working to. And then I had the experience of the master, which is creating process, creating method, so people can quickly adapt, understand the briefings, connect with the research, and connect with audience research, and then have uh, a very reliable outcome, something that really we know that will work, so we can go and put that on air, and that will have a response from the audience. So that was a good experience. So yeah, the second major struggle I think was that, to realize how I fit in this market, how I fit with my skills, how can I help and connect with people.
So, can
Yeah.
I ask you what you did in the lab exactly? What was it? Were you guys coming up with new shows, or was it only copywriting, or what? I mean, what was the lab?
Well, bottom line, we had a design process that make things more assertive, I think, is that the word? I mean, more focused and more efficient. So that was
Right.
the thing. So helping people to stand from their chairs and connect with people and work together. That was the bottom line, was that in the beginning. And then we expand that for branding. So we help different departments of the company to connect and contribute in order to create a single narrative for the brands, especially sales department,
Right.
marketing. They had different views about the brand or the brands. So we help them to connect and theirs create this branding, instead us doing all the work by ourselves and try to accept it by them. So, and then realize there was a key for the moment, because working collaboratively, we could improve the results, we could do that faster, and we can create some alignment between different departments. So that was very special for that time. And and then I think in that moment, what we had was um, an insight from our competitors. We went to New York and visit Google there, and we have been in San Francisco, and we visit some studios there too, studios, and then said, "Oh, we should have a space where people can come here and using by design thinking methods, we can help them to be creative too, and have better solutions, especially for the sales department, which is uh, the people that connect with the advertisers, with ad agencies, and create all the pipeline of ads on TV. And then that was how the lab was born. So we had a special tools that we have created for that, so we can make that not so quickly. That was like 3 to 6 weeks of work, because of course we had to do all backstage, like connecting with researchers, research department, marketing department, and bring all the information for that specific client. So let's say something like coffee capsules, for espresso. So we should focus on that brand,
Yeah,
on that segment, and connect with the owners of the TV shows. So we bring
that is
them in that space.
fascinating.
And
That is
it's really
it's
heavy
fascinating.
work.
Yeah,
So
it's
we bring
great.
people from Rio, because in this moment I moved to São Paulo,
Yeah,
because the lab was here. So we bring people from Rio to São Paulo, and we bring all people from the agencies of that client to one day of immersion on that challenge. And then we could create some uh, customized formats to them, like especially for social media. How can we make some fragments of what we have on TV for third-party platforms, which we have any control at the time. So was sharpy, very focused, and client could see the results. And that was magic for a while. That was magic. We did hundreds of workshops. We bring creative people from Rio. We bring people from, academic people that could give some small lectures during these sprints. And yeah, that was how it works.
that sounds fantastic, Marcio. I bet that you have so many, I would call them not students, but disciples, learning fans, groupies. They must be
Oh,
so
yes.
grateful to you. It sounds like a fantastic project in terms of creativity. That's exactly what I think people should do. We should always create a community and give back what we got when we were younger. So it must have been a struggle, but also fantastic satisfaction in the end, right? I
Yeah.
guess you just brought a lot with you afterwards.
Yeah, that was the chance I had in so short period to have the experience with so many different brands from different segments of market.
That was my chance. Do you think that that was luck? Because you actually worked and you put the work into it, or a combination of both?
It's a combination, but I think something is really special. I connected with people that trust in my work. So I have a fantastic director and peers, like other managers that work with me, that really trust on my work. And that makes a totally difference. Sometimes when I deliver in some lectures, people say, "Oh, how can I do that in the company where I work?" And I say, "You must have someone that trusts in your work. Other than that, you can be a genius, and it's not going to happen." So you need someone that will invest time, will listen to your, I would say directions, but we are advisors, and let's do that. So let's rock it. So that's what will guarantee you to have such a, like, enormous work running for such a long time.
I agree with that. One of my favorite quotes that I have on Instagram as well, it says, trust, you have to give trust and freedom, because trust and freedom create responsibility. And it's true, when you're given trust, first of all, you're more creative, I think, because you feel comfortable and you relax and your brain just works better. But also you create better work because you feel the responsibility of also encountering that trust. And so the human connection is also very important in this
It is.
process. That's a fantastic example. I'm sure that people will really enjoy this. So my next question for you is how your idea of creativity has changed over the years. So let's think about the Marcio, the little Marcio in Brazil before London, and Márcio now, who is a consultant, who's an expert, who wrote a book, who has done hundreds of jobs and labs and things. Would you say that your idea is the same, or has it changed?
I think that changed drastically,
Yeah, yeah,
immensely.
that makes
Uh,
sense.
in the beginning, we had this belief, I had this belief, and some of my friends also had that you should be the only responsible for the result. You should seek for excellence just by yourself, and other than that, you're not a successful creative director or creative person. That's the belief you used to have, and I used to have. And now I really believe that the creative work should not be something that surprise your client or your supporter or your the person that is commissioning you. That should be a collective production. I mean, it's a co-work. I mean, it's not something you do by yourself, because especially on TV, I learned a lot about that. You can have a nice idea, and that can become huge, fantastic, because you have 30 people working with you. You have producers, you have other art directors working with you. You have the lighting guy, you have the sound designer, you have, and all these people, you increase your work and make that bigger and special.
I was saying I profoundly believe the same thing. I really believe this, even this podcast is born because of that, because I think connection is everything in our work. And sometimes you connect with people and it makes the best kind of work because new ideas are born in company. And I think that when we are younger, I don't know if if it's a general feeling, but we are kind of pushed to competitiveness sometimes. And creative work is actually the opposite. There's no, I mean, it's good to have, some healthy competition, but sometimes it's counterproductive because some really great minds can work together and do even greater work together. It doesn't take anything away from you or from the other person. And actually, teamwork is indispensable in some specific jobs, like the one you made on television, for instance. You couldn't do it on your own. It's just not the nature of the work. But I love that you see it that way, and I have that in common with you. I used to think I have to do everything on my own, but actually, the best work I've done is been with 30 people, like with lots of other people who would put together their ideas and their method and their skills as well.
Yeah,
So I think that's a very nice message to give.
and if you see, I mean, it's a huge change on mentality, on mindset. If you see the awards back in time, we used to have this. We still have some of them here in Brazil. This creative awards that would only recognize the owner of the company or the major art director. And in these days, it has changed so much. I mean, the way we people analyze the work and award them is different. It's considered a lot of different factors, and we have this special award here in Brazil for design, and I was a jury and one of of its editions, and we had like 300 studios award, small studios awarded, and not the huge companies, not the huge ad companies, just the small studios, young people producing themselves and connecting. They don't have employees. They work in a net. They work in a net. They work collaborating and doing amazing visual work and being awarded gold statue, gold, And in the beginning, you had these gatekeepers of creativity that would say which is not creative. And in these days, people just can show their work on internet, can print their own, magazines and posters. And probably in Europe, you have that. We have here in Brazil this uh, graphic fairs on Sundays or Saturdays. You have creative people showing their works, and that's amazing. That's a huge shift.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think it's really important. And I love that it's so democratized now because it used to be very elitarian, you know. You had these incredibly famous people and they were just a few people and everyone else was just no one, and it was such a shame because that didn't give the whole spectrum. But today you speak to very young professionals who are super prolific, super intelligent, who do lots of really nice things. I personally work as a volunteer with students who design apps for good causes, so it's mostly environmental. So they design apps for climate change. All of them are so intelligent and so bright. And you just wish for them to have that space to really express how good they are. And it's good that now they can have a platform. They can do that. They can go in many places and have that possibility, which 30, 40 years ago was not possible.
No.
I want to know what your influences are, the books, the people, the things that inspired you the most when you were young.
Well, I was thinking on my business partner. He said, "Oh, you never stop." I had these open tabs on my mind all the time. So like we're attending a
My God,
client,
I
but
feel the
also,
same.
yeah, I think it's something about our work. It's about our career, I think. Um, so I see things from, what inspires me. I like to see scientific research. I like to see, I don't like much celebrities and the industry, I think because I work on that. So that doesn't inspire me much. Uh, it's like a ultra processed food. I think it's the end of the line. So I like to search for different things like scientific things. I like to go to a museum, to go to a nice exhibition, but I also like to walk the streets and see people. I like to observe people, like group of young people, kind of voyeur, but I like to see what they're wearing, what they're dressing. I like to see young creative people that produce different kind of arts, not only graffiti, but also paintings, sculptures, and ceramics, and whatever it's new and fresh, why it's trending, why people are looking after that. That inspires much. I have
So
different
you're
readings.
inspired by life constantly.
I'm definitely a tourist in my life.
Love that. That's such a nice metaphor. Yes,
Yeah,
I love this.
like
I
observing.
feel very close to that. I had some things that definitely inspired me, but I also share with you this passion for whatever's happening now, whichever person I can meet. I am fascinated by some phenomena like Labubu. What is this Labubu thing? Do you know Labubu?
It's not something curious. I mean, why, especially with social
I am so
media.
amazed by it. I'm obsessed with it. I just want to know why people are so into that. I mean, that's just one of the many things that are around us right now. But yes, I'm like you. I think it's curiosity. You just feel like
Yes,
I want to
it's
know what's going
understand.
on.
I want to understand why. Why are they doing that?
So
And
true.
and yeah, and why it's special for them. And I have this discipline for strategic designers, and the first class I introduced them some concepts about Pierre Bourdieu visions about the value of the things and how they, in the end, is a way that people use, objects and clothes and accessories to tell people who they are. So I think that's a very interesting exercise when you go outside. Try to observe people and understand why they're trying to say they are by that combination. and in seconds instance from where they take that, where they see that in order to say who they are, from where they take that. And sometimes it's from a very superficial layer. It can be from television, from social media, but in other cases, it's deeper. It's more meaningful, and I think that is the key for a new original inspiration for a new work, is where you can catch some you know some special message there or some special reference there.
That sounds a lot like psychotherapy as well.
It is
You
a
know,
lot.
find the roots of your soul. It's such
It
a, it
is.
must be a cathartic kind of work, you know. You find the roots of what you are and what you love and everything. Oh, that's great.
These days, I'm saying that my work is business psychoanalysis because I, if someone need a new logo or a new visual for their social media, they can download it. They can go to a open source software and do themselves. They don't need a graphic designer. The way I work in these days, I call it business psychoanalysis, because if someone needs a new brand, a new visual, graphic, or even a video, they can do that by themselves, or they can have someone that will do that for free for them. They don't need a specialized professional or special skills or reference to do that. So my work in these days is very much to listen the client, to understand. So I have a sequence of questions, I have some approaches, and I have some tools that we did here in order to better listen the person. Because in the end, the logo, the poster, whatever you're doing, needs to make sense for that client. Must be meaningful to them. Something very, very personal. I mean, they should see themselves in that work that we're doing to them. I very much believe in that in these days. So I think that's the major shift.
That's a very, very true thing and also very useful, I'm sure, for someone who's approaching the same job now, because it's going to change a lot compared to when we started. It's already changed while we were doing it, and now it's changing again. So I think it's a very useful, which actually takes us to one of my last questions, which is what you wish you'd known 10 to 20 years ago that you know now, what you would say to young Marcio? Well, younger.
I just keep doing that. I think the main concerns back in time was if I was doing that right, because of course I was young and I could see some friends, some very close friends, having a nice job, like in a publisher, huge publisher, or on MTV. Used to have MTV here in Brazil, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm just behind. I'm getting behind." And the thing is, I wasn't behind. I was just on my pace. That's the thing. Just kept doing that. So if I had something to say to myself or my younger version, I would say, just keep working, bitch.
That is such a good thing to say. Also, I think it relates to something that a lot of people, a lot of us have felt, and I'm sure that younger creatives also feel, that is the imposter syndrome. You think, my God, I've chosen the wrong career. I'm not as good as all the people I see around us. And have I done the right thing? And then you doubt yourself. We doubt ourselves very often. I think it's a very human trait. But it is very important also to tell yourself, keep going. If you feel like this is right and it's your path, just keep going, because one way or the other, if you work hard and you really love something, something will happen. So that's a very good advice, even for the younger listeners. So, Marcio, just to end up on a nice note, tell us where people can find everything about you, or where they can find you online if you have a website, and then we will also share it on my website and on social media. But it's nice to say, what would you like them to see first? And what would you like to share?
I'll be very happy if people could have access to my book, Geração Pixelada. Show it to you
Yes,
again.
share it again. Thank you very much. Geração Pixelada for
And
those who are not watching us on video.
you can access ML8 design on Instagram. You can see some work, some posts I share there, and you can access my personal website, ml8design.com, and dois M's design.design, which is my company with my partner.
What do you guys do? What do you offer? Is it a consultancy? People can find you there in São Paulo and come to you, and they can have the best brand
Yeah,
strategy
we
ever.
are based in São Paulo, but we have clients across the world. We have clients in
For
Norway.
sure.
At this moment, we're very happy with working with the girls there. It's a femtech studios company
Awesome.
and some different companies from this major fintech. So it's really nice. So we're basically doing end to end. So we get in a deep immersion with the clients, understand the business, help them to format the service, and then follows with the service design, branding, and also on a website if you need, we'll do that. And for that, we just connect with different professionals according to the project we have. So it's a very flexible format, and we're kind of happy with that.
That sounds amazing. So everyone follow Marcio. Please get to know his work. It's fantastic. You are fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
having participated to this
Thank you
podcast.
for having me here. Really glad.
You are fantastic, Marcio. Thank you. We will
Thank you.
find you
You are Fabi.
online. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.